you for joining. Thank you for joining, everyone. Hi, we are going to get started. So welcome to our webinar today on increasing adoption for digital learning. My name is Nicole Clark-Bruno, and I'm the Viva Program Manager here, and I'm going to serve as your facilitator. So did you know that according to the Harvard Business Review, 82% of business executives say their typical employee interacts with 4 or more digital touchpoints day to day? Also, 81% of executives agree or strongly agree that the ability to rapidly adopt new technologies and embed them in their employees' everyday work is a competitive differentiator in their industry. Finally, 56% say their typical employee is expected to master at least 3 new digital touchpoints every year. That's a lot for one employee to handle on top of their job responsibilities. So it's up to us to now figure out how we can support our users. For many of us, our initial reaction is to train. And while we do love training at LPW, we also know that that's a one prong in a multi-prong approach. So let's walk through some scenarios. How many of you can relate to this situation? Please raise your hand or chime in the chat if you've been here before. So you roll out training on a new digital tool and your learners, they feel good. They feel okay because training's fresh in their mind as they walk away. However, as they start using the tool, they realize, uh-oh, I don't know what I'm doing. So then they turn to their manager and ask for support. And the manager then takes time from their day to train the team member. And the learner feels like they're good until they pick up the system again after some time. And then they feel lost again. And that roller coaster just continues. Additionally, how many of you can also relate to the other side of that coin? The lack of ROI because your users are not using the system to its full potential, or bad data is being added to your system. So leaders are looking at you with questions and you don't have great answers. Here's some good news though. It does not have to be this way. There are so many options that you can utilize in addition to initial training to increase adoption of your software so it can reach its full ROI. There are many ways that you can tackle this problem. You can dedicate office hours, a super user, or time developing additional training resources. But all of those solutions mean you're creating new and additional resources, which honestly are likely not to solve the problem. You need to teach the team to find the help they need at that point of need. And that's why you need digital learning tools to increase adoption. We have to stop relying on initial training to solve the problem. We have to increase access to on-demand tools that allow for learning in the flow of work through digital adoption practices and tools. Digital adoption is the process of employees learning to use new tools and technology to their maximum potential. So your organization gets as much value as possible from the system. However, in order to get full digital adoption, we need to leverage opportunities outside of that traditional initial training environment. Digital adoption can happen through many different tools and forms, but you have to do a little homework before you can get started. First, you want to do some research and do some assessing. You want to start with auditing what tools your organization has available for you to utilize. If you're already utilizing certain tools, you can learn more about what's working and what may not be working, and then gather from there. I want you to assess your users and find out where they're hanging out most, and is there a way to be where they are? The reason that many users don't go back to their LMS for reference or even questions is because it's not where they typically think of as a place to get answers. It's a place where they get their training done, and users, when they're looking for support, they want to be where they are in the moment. So look at the tool you're trying to increase adoption for. Look at your intranet, your programs for chat and community. Look at what departments are utilizing as a tool that you could also leverage. Ask your users, where do they want to see that in the moment of need type help? And where do they currently go for that support? Identify what capacity is for your team to administer, develop, and nurture digital adoption tools. All of this information will help you to plan a strategy to identify the best support tools for your organization. Let's start with some lower cost options. First, did you look at the tool you're utilizing? Many systems have a place where you could share content. So for example, Viva CRM. You can use media and the training folder to share videos and quick reference guides. Or in Viva Vault, you can set up a binder with training materials that are custom to your system and your processes that go beyond what Vault Help offers. If your users are already in the system, you want to provide them with support without ever having to leave the tool, thus increasing adoption, but also ensuring that the content's being utilized. If there are opportunities to embed easily accessible tools and resources, then LPW can help develop the appropriate bite-sized content to help users get their answer and then continue on their day. Think 30 seconds to 3-minute max consumable content in the form of videos, interactive documentation, different things like that. But what do you do if the platform's not an option? Well, let me ask you something. When you're looking for a recommendation, who do you trust more? A random Yelp review or a referral from a trusted network of friends? A friend, right? So you can develop that same resource within your organization for the adoption of your system. For many, managing change can be difficult. And while your training rollout, like you may have fully thought out and well-designed, it can still leave some feeling unprepared when the time comes. Also, many are looking for ways that they could be more efficient, get additional tips and support. And that's where the development of a learning community can increase adoption of your system. A learning community is a group of users with shared learning goals who collaborate and connect with one another. What makes communities successful is that their interactions are both practical, meaning the users learn how to do something or it solves a problem. But it's also emotional. They build relationships with others facing those same challenges. And in today's remote world, any chance we have to build a relationship is really important. You can utilize community to share best practices, tips of the day, news of system updates and enhancements, and even testimonials of how the system is helping users in their everyday work. To set up a community, we recommend utilizing a platform you already use and where your learners are. Even if your LMS offers message board capability, if your users are not there, they're not going to remember to check a message board in the moment. Do you utilize Teams, Yammer, Slack, Workplace? These are great places to get started because your users know the capabilities and must be there for other areas of their work. Once you know where your community will live, there's a few things that you need to plan for. Let's start with the content. What kinds of posts will you post as the admin to create engagement? Then there's the moderation. How will you manage posting and comments? What are the rules of your community? And then the management. Who's going to be your community manager? We also have the marketing. How will you market this to offer your end users and management to gain buy-in and get the people there? And lastly, the incentive. How will this community benefit those users? I want to leave you with this thought though. While communities are great resources, they take intentional effort and strategy, especially if your culture is not that of utilizing communities. So take your time and know it'll be a slow build towards developing a thriving community. At LPW, we have resources to help you develop communities, structure the content, and encourage engagement and train your managers if this is a resource that you'd like to utilize. And our final resource for you are digital adoption platforms. So what are digital adoption platforms? A digital adoption platform, or a DAP, is a software that's layered on top of another software product, app, or website to help facilitate proficiency by guiding users through those key tasks and providing contextual information as users navigate the product. And if you've likely experienced a DAP, have you ever opened a new website? You see a pop-up, it gives you a tour of how to use the website. So this is a digital adoption platform. The beauty of digital adoption platforms is that you don't have to leave the tool in order to get support. This is where your users get lost and instead rely on their manager or another team member for support. They have to leave the system to get support they need, so it's easier to just go to someone else rather than utilize the LMS or refer to that previous training. A digital adoption platform you might be quite familiar with would be WalkMe or Whatfix. These rely on the push methodology where they push content to you. A great advantage of this platform that's available to you on demand, and you can use it right there. However, the downside can be that for some that they prefer to jump into the system and pull the content as they need help. Additionally, that administration cost can be high. Prior to use, you'll need to map out all the processes and set them up. If the system has frequent updates, you'll need to recreate the walkthroughs often. And some vendors that utilize this style of DAP are, as we said, WalkMe, WhatFix, but then there's also Speckit, Pendo, and UserPilot. Another digital adoption platform option is Guide, which LPW partners with. So Guide is a video-based app. It uses more of a pull methodology rather than a push. It has a browser extension that has a little G at the top right of your screen that can be moved as needed. And when a user needs information, they can simply click the G, and the video knowledge base displays. Guide's intelligent enough to identify where you are to recommend appropriate videos for you. You also have the ability to search through titles, tags, and the transcript to find exactly what you're looking for. So LPW's unique value proposition here is that we do all of the work for you. We create the videos and manage and maintain the system. So with this, we will link to the replay. You'll receive that, and we'll send you a webinar recording of the Guide platform. And if you're interested in a demo, we'd be able to schedule that demo for you through that replay link. Finally, if you have a knowledge base available to use, a knowledge base is a tool that allows you to store information and data. So information can be stored as videos, articles, things like that. Think of a knowledge base as a self-serve online library where you can find information about specific products, services, and departments. With knowledge bases, it's important to know that you'll need to curate that content. But if you already use it for other departments, it may be a great option for you because it'll also leverage, if you're leveraging that, it would avoid additional budget impact. Some examples of knowledge bases include Zendesk, Wix Answers, Zoho Desk, Guru, Document 360, Notion, and Knowledge Center. If you're interested in building a knowledge base for your solution, LPW can support with the development of articles, videos, and any other content you may need. To recap, here are some recommendations for tools you can utilize to increase digital adoption for your systems. First, we have the tool. Then we have learning communities. We have digital adoption platforms, DApps, and we also have knowledge base. If you'd like any more information on these options or how LPW can support your quest for digital adoption, please let us know. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. You'll receive a link to the replay after the session. And of course, we are always available to answer your specific questions. Are there any questions that I can actually take right now?
Hi, Nicole. Yeah, we have a couple that have populated into the chat. So the first question is, how do you encourage users to participate in an online community?
So this is why a community manager is really important. You need the right person to champion your community and participate. You also can incentivize your employees to participate in that community, which is very helpful. Great question.
Following up on that, what are some incentives?
So incentives can be as large or as small as your budget allows. You can run a contest, offer a large incentive, think like a Google Home or something of value. Also weekly contests, weekly things like that. You could do $5 coffee gift cards. People love those. Or if you have swag on hand, you can use that, give that away. And also know sometimes just FaceTime with a higher up is a good incentive to motivate employees. So maybe offer like a networking coffee with a VP. For those who are active participants, you really have a large amount of options here for things that you could do.
Great, thank you. And another question we have in the chat is, how long does a DAP take to implement?
So most apps do take some time because you need to build out all of the processes and then build them into your system. So for Guide specifically, if you're on CRM, PromoMats, MedComs, we have generic videos that we can get you up and running on, and then we can create custom videos in addition for whatever is needed to cover your system. It does take a little time. It doesn't take much time to get up and running on Guide though. The other systems, it may take a little bit.
And then we also, our last question here is, in addition to Guide, do you support WhatFix?
Absolutely, that is something we can definitely help you with.
Great, thank you. So Nicole, hang on for anyone who may have a couple of other questions. But otherwise, thank you, Nicole, so much for the presentation. It was wonderful, and we look forward to connecting with everyone after the presentation.
Great. Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone being here.